everyone, and welcome back for another segment of Attack Wrap here on Rogers TV. Matt Sanderson and John Morris here with you. John, an exciting week throughout the entire OHL. Obviously, the Owen Sound Attack off to an 0-2 start this year, but we'll get to that in a moment. Tell us everything that has transpired in this first week of the CHL season.
Well, it's the first week of the OHL wraps up. You have your Player of the Week honors rolling in, and the Pioneer Energy Player of the Week for the OHL this week was Matt Luff of the Hamilton Bulldogs. Matt Luff had a big week. He signed with the LA Kings just before the start of the season in the summer, actually. He started the season off. They were on the road against Mississauga, who a lot of people have as the team to beat in the Eastern Conference this year. While the Hamilton Bulldogs stomped them 7-0 in Mississauga, led by Matt Luff, who had 3 goals and an assist. He followed that up the next night, picking up another goal, another assist to get to 6 points in just 2 games. And another important thing, or something that people look into a little more, is sometimes it's the plus minus there. You see it on the right. Doesn't mean everything, as there are some more advanced stats into that type of thing, but a +7 nonetheless. That's something that his coaches are definitely going to be happy with. And then for the Owen Sound Attack, you have your Huron Tractor Player of the Week, which this week was Bradley Van Schupert. He started both games for Owen Sound. The 0-2 obviously isn't something that Bradley was looking for. The Owen Sound Attack definitely would have liked to pick up a win in the first 2 games on the road nonetheless, but he did put up some impressive numbers. I mean, 2.52 goals against average. You're going to look at that if that's over the course of the whole season for sure, and a .917 save percentage. So even though there's no Michael McNiven between the pipes for the Owen Sound Attack for the opening weekend, the goaltending was there, and the opportunity to win both games was very possible. So that's something Owen Sound has to look forward as we get into the coming weeks.
Well, we'll go over a little bit of the highlights here for the first 2 games of the season for the Owen Sound Attack, but actually we'll just throw over to the first game. I believe it was against Flint, and that was a...
I think we have the Flint highlights, the 2-0 loss on the Saturday night. Of course, me and Matt were here. We covered the game in the studio, and you'll get a good look at, I believe, some Bradley Van Schupert clips in this as well, as we'll let you just take this one. I believe this is the first goal of the game, and it's an awesome pass behind the net. You got to watch it very quick right here, right to the side of the net. Nothing BVS can do there as they go back across the green behind the net. That's early in the first. Owen Sound had a power play before that. Of course, they didn't capitalize, and the Flint Firebirds do. Now, Flint really rolling through the first 3 games, as you see another chance. There's Bradley Van Schupert making a big save on Moore. He recorded, I believe, 7 points in the first 3 games of the year, as well as Nick Commando, the Dallas Stars prospect, who passed the puck to Moore in front of the net there as he scored. So those 2 players for Flint off to a great start as well. They both have 7 points in their first 3 games, and Flint, who almost everyone I should say, has at the bottom of the West, are 2-1. So I mean, for Flint, they've obviously have a rocky road. We all know the background of that, but they're off to a good start, so good for them.
So what is it like for the Attack this year? Because in the sense, like you said, they started off to that 0-2 start. They were 3-0 last year to start off the season. What is it like? What's the comparison there?
Yeah, it's a tough thing to compare. Last year, maybe not as much expectation on this team, not those players that people are looking at as 2016 NHL draft eligible players at this point last year, and they got off to a great start. They made the huge deal right before the season to pick up Bryson Cianfroni from Mississauga in exchange for Jack Flynn. That goes great in the first game against Kitchener. I believe it was a goal and 2 assists, or goal and an assist, including a helper, or the goal on the overtime winner to beat Kitchener in Kitchener to start the season. They kept it going with a win against Flint and Guelph, I believe, last year as well, to move to 3-0. They did drop their next 2 games, though, to come back to 3-2 and come back down to earth. Now this year is the opposite. They start off 0-2, 3-2 loss to Sarnia. Close game. Right in that game, they had the lead going into the 3rd period. The Flint game, they just can't find the back of the net, can't score. We'll see if that's a problem as the year goes on, and they find themselves 0-2. Now, just like last year, I expect the scores to flip-flop and then start to win games this year, and then come back to earth, and everything kind of levels itself out, and we'll go from there as we determine what we think this team can do this season.
Well, you touched on it a little bit there, John, with the lower expectations last year. Higher expectations this year. A lot of people are thinking maybe the 4 or 5 spot for this squad.
Yeah, if you do find some OHL prediction rankings online, you're going to see them. I've seen them as low as 7th, but most of the ones that I have seen have them in the 4 or 5 spot. And we'll get to it further in the show, but there was an OHL poll release today that had 11 GMs voting Owen Sound as the team that's going to surprise the most people this season. So that's something that is in the positive category anyways.
Now, we know it's early, but we're going to give you a shot of the standings so far this year. Maybe a little bit surprised, like we said, early on in the season, but definitely some eye-openers on this one, John.
Yeah, and you see the Guelph Storm, obviously, at the top. Liam Herbst, the goalie they picked up in the offseason, he's off to a heck of a start. I believe he was the first star, if not the first and second star, in both of his respective games that he got off to this year. Then you see some teams like Kitchener, they've only played 1 game. London's played 2. They lost to Sarnia 4-1 on the last Wednesday, the season opener, as well as I believe they beat Erie 0-2, and then Owen Sound 0-2. So for this Midwest division, that's supposed to be a powerhouse division. Maybe not those results yet. We get a whole look at the West. Windsor off to a great start. Windsor off to a great start. Even Flint, you see there, they have an extra game played, obviously, but they're looking good. And then as we get down to the bottom, it's still that's not going to be what it looks like at the end of the year. Obviously, yes, we're early, but it has been definitely an interesting start to the season that people would not have predicted.
Well, we'll take a quick shot at the East here. Barrie Colts obviously 2-0 there, but the Bulldogs, look at them.
Yeah, the Bulldogs, they're going to be a bit of a force this year. They played 2 games, they have 14 goals. So the goals are there. They have some players that were there last year, and they've added to that core of players. And it seems that things are gelling there early in the season. If they can keep that going, I would imagine they stay there for a good chunk of the year. Obviously, Mississauga has a lot of pieces to get back. And I don't know if Barrie's going to be there. I don't know if Niagara's going to be way up there, but we'll see as time goes on and more games are played. So,
before we go to break here, John, tell us a little bit about McNiven, Friend, and Schmalz. Obviously, we're in training camp, or have you heard information on that yet?
Not a lot has been released, but like those higher name players for the Attack that you hear about more and more in the media. Like I said, there was the polls released today. Polls to 20 coaches were taken anonymously. Jacob Friend got a vote for the best body checker in the league. Michael McNiven picked up, I think it was 20% or 30% of the vote for best goaltender in the league. Petey Palmu was one of the ones in the most underrated list. And the Bayshore was tied for first with the London Knights in the John Labatt Center as the hardest arena to play in. So you wait till Owen Sound gets back at home and gets a couple games under their belt at the Bayshore. Very friendly confines for them anyways, and we'll make some more determinations on what we think this team can do.
More action here on Attack Wrap.